lot to talk about today.
I feel like you like to just throw it on us live. You like no links.
Yeah, it's
No
like
link.
last minute. It's last minute.
And Kris is always like, guys, we should meet up 10 minutes early. Like, let's just get things on board. And Amit's like, we're doing it live.
Well, I think that's a little bit of the magic. Is like we don't plan shit. Again, we just talk off what we can talk, and
Right. But do you notice how we almost never discuss what the title of it says? It's like Tesla earnings, and it's like fuck Netflix. You know what I mean?
Okay, I do want to start it off by letting you know that I talked to Donald Trump last night, and apparently he listens to the podcast. Okay, so I'm gonna just play you guys what he told me.
Yeah, okay.
I know where this is going.
I listen to Finance Junkies every night. I never miss it. Carlos, Vitaly, and Kris are great. But Amit, that guy is one of the best hosts in the great United States. In fact, I may need to steal him from the podcast to manage my campaign. Keep up the good work, guys. Finance Junkies is great, but Amit is outstanding. I'm sorry, Amit.
And he's a good guy. He gave me.
You just got yourself the intro, bro. You just got yourself the intro to the channel. That's what you got to do.
Seriously.
There we go.
Send me that audio and let me cut a promo for this.
Bro, so this is an app on Telegram. It lets you pick Steve Jobs, Elon, Trump, Joe Rogan, and you can just make them say whatever. And it's like good. It's like actually good.
That is scarily good, actually.
Yeah.
It's wild. All right, so let's move on to the first topic of the day. I don't know how much Carlos knows about this, but my morning stream does know about this. Christopher Patel sent me a picture this morning.
No, don't show it. Don't show it. Let's just leave it at that. Don't show it.
Can I at least say how much is in the picture?
No.
Well, let's just say we laughed at Kris a couple weeks ago for being not all in, but like caring about some company that Oprah is on the board of or whatever, called Weight Watchers. Mm-hmm. And honestly, me, Carlos, and Vitaly were like, all right, I guess he wants to, whatever. It's like a little fun little thing he's doing on the side. Yeah. Next thing you know, this bad boy, let me pull it up, is up 58% at the peak today. Mm-hmm. And Chris's calls printed some serious cash.
Some serious attendees.
Some attendees. So, Kris, let me ask you a question. Are you trying to lose weight by any chance?
Yes and no.
Okay, would you give up all the attendees you got today to lose 50 pounds overnight?
No.
Okay, speaking like a true capitalist. I love it. There it is. So we got Weight Watchers up 58% in one day. Not a lot of stocks. This isn't 2021. So this is actually an outlier. So I want to ask a couple questions. Number one, Kris, what was your thesis on this? Because honestly, no one listened to your thesis when you actually said it. And why did this happen? Hold on. And then two, I'm going to present a bear case. We don't talk about the bear case yet. I'm going to present it after you present the bull case from a very important institutional hedge fund manager who thinks this is full of shit. Okay, go ahead.
So I have been on this thing about GLP-1 medication since November. So this isn't something that's, Kris just discovered this like last night and he's talked about it. Like, no, I've been talking about this for a while. The company that I was originally very interested in was Novo Nordisk, who makes Ozempic. And Ozempic also and Novo Nordisk also makes something called Wegovy. Basically, the medication was originally designed for people with diabetes that help them manage their weight, get their A1C down. And one of the side effects, of course, was that people were losing weight and they're losing a substantial amount of weight. And it was actually very effective. So the mechanism of action that's actually used for this medication is actually something that naturally occurs in the body anyway. So all they're doing is just synthesizing it, putting it back into the body, and now you're getting the effect. And the effect is weight loss. The way that it works is that it releases a hormone into your brain and into your gut that makes you feel full. And because of that, you're not going to eat as much. And if you don't eat as much, of course, you're going to lose the weight, right? So that was the original
food
thesis.
That they produce has this molecule inside of it.
Say that. What did you say? The food?
Like does Weight Watchers make meals that has the drug?
No. So first, we're not even talking about Weight Watchers right now. We're talking about the pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk.
Okay.
All right. Novo Nordisk is a European pharmaceutical company. They're one of the first people to use semaglutide, which is the peptide that that people use that gets this effect. Now, what's interesting about it is it's very effective. Originally, it was scheduled. I mean, it was specifically made for diabetics, but the side effects were so good that people started using it off label, right? So even celebrities like Elon Musk, they're using Ozempic. What's his name? Jason Calacanis is using Ozempic.
Really?
What's her name? Kim K is using Ozempic. Like all of them are on the medication. So they're using it off label because they can afford it, of course. It's $1,000 a month, but they can afford it, so they use it. If you have diabetes, people use it. So there's almost like a shortage of it. Now, there's other pharmaceutical companies that have come out with new drugs that have a similar profile and actually are even more effective. The one that I'm talking about now is something called Mounjaro by Eli Lilly. So a lot of these newer class of weight loss medications, they're actually very effective. They've been clinically proven. And the application is very simple too. It's just one injection every week, and it's painless injection. And you can do it at home. So basically, the month that comes in, put it on, and boom, you start. Your A1C gets the results are dramatic, and it's really, really good for people to lose the weight, because then you have all these other secondary effects when you have obesity start to go away as well. So in terms of weight loss isn't just, oh yeah, I want to look good for a dress. It's actually good for your health. And so right now, the total population in the United States, I think 40% of the population is obese. And it's really bad because a lot of our healthcare spending goes towards managing people with obesity and all the side effects that come along with it. So, so one of the things was Weight Watchers has always been on the forefront of helping people lose the weight, but they've done it through two things. One, constantly monitoring the weight via their in-person meetups groups, but then also doing some lifestyle modifications, behavioral changes on how you approach your eating habits and the foods that you eat specifically to help you lose the weight. And it was actually very effective, for some people. For some people, it takes a much longer time, but they transitioned somewhat from that. So that model up until 2020 was effective, but not it wasn't like super effective, but it was effective for those who really bought into it. Oprah Winfrey is on the board of Weight Watchers. She has a substantial investment in it. She actually used the product to lose weight. Now what happened, of course, is COVID comes along. All these centers that get shut down. So Weight Watchers ended up transitioning to a more what is that thing called? More focused on trying to work with people over the internet and, meetups through Zoom and right. Exactly. And to some degree that was effective, but it wasn't cost effective because a lot of members weren't going to the clubs that they actually had. So they had a lot of leases on spaces in these strip malls and malls and stuff like that, where Weight Watchers is primarily located. So a lot of them were closed down, and so some members were dropping off. So they had a declining membership rate. Now they brought in a new CEO last year who's a little bit more progressive with it, and they saw that they were losing people primarily to a lot of these weight loss medications that were coming on the market. And one of the things that they did is, instead of fighting against the tide, they kind of joined the tide, because the product that Weight Watchers has and the medications that these new medications that are coming out, they're actually complementary to each other. Where basically, if you take the medication and you make some changes, positive changes in your lifestyle, how you eat, how you approach food, the benefits are long lasting, right? So right now, a lot of people don't realize, but Weight Watchers has close to 3 million active users that use their system every month. Huh? Not just the app, but the actual going to the physical sites, meeting up with people. You really should do more research on Weight Watchers, because otherwise I'm going to be talking about this all day long.
Okay, so tell me, so why does the stock up 50%? And before you do that, George Mansonas, thank you so much for the super chat. That's a big
I was
one.
like, what?
$25 is a lot. Carlos and Kris will never get their share, but I appreciate this, man. This unless you want to drop the cash.
Vitaly's not getting the share. I'll get on a plane right now and go.
So
also, can you fix the window? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So what happened with Weight Watchers, they bought a company called Sequence Health. Sequence Health has about 24,000 members already, but they're the telehealth provider, who specifically work with people to lose weight using medications and drugs and stuff like that. But they tailor it to the person. So what happens now is that Weight Watchers is combining both things. So you have like a network effect and the synergistic effect of that. So you have people who are already captive members of Weight Watchers that want to lose weight, but aren't as where, you know, they're at a point where the obesity is so high that it's really negatively impacting them in the short term. So if you ever realize the thing you have to, unless you've like really gained a lot of weight, you don't realize that there are dramatic changes that happen to your body and mentally that prevent you from losing weight. One of them, of course, is that when you gain so much weight, you're almost shamed in society, because everyone's like, oh, you're just a fat, lazy piece of shit. And that's like the furthest thing from the truth. Our society is going from working in a very active role to like literally just sitting at an office at a computer desk, and then you go home, you have kids to manage. So it's not, the lifestyle is not conducive to like this gym bro culture. Like, people have a lot of things they have to get done. There's a lot more stressors in life. So people have to be more careful with what they eat. You know, like even our food has a ton of more like sugar and saturated fats in it that, you know, basically make you super fat.
Okay, so why was the stock up 58% today?
Because the acquisition that I told you guys about, Sequence, was completed. So now the next phase
went up 50% because they completed something.
The acquisition went through, and Goldman Sachs came out with a price target about $13 a share, because they saw the same things that I was talking to everyone about for the last 3 months. They were like, wait, the opportunity for them to capitalize on this in this market is huge.
Wait, so and when you mean opportunity to capitalize, you mean just get more members because of the acquisition?
Right, get more members, and also take a cut from the telehealth services that are provided to people looking to lose weight, and then the doctors can prescribe the medication for them.
But I'm looking at the charts now, and I don't know if you can pull it up on TradingView, but even now at $7, it's 83% down off its highs.
Exactly. Because I'm telling you, a lot of people don't even realize they're actually operating cash flow positive as well.
But I mean, the market cap of this thing is less than $1 billion. It's $400 million, and it's been trading at this $4 level for a long time. So like this seems to me like a reflex bounce. But it's overall in a downtrend. I mean,
because like I said, because the business itself was slowly deteriorating, because the original business model that they had was slowly going away. It didn't work as well post COVID. If you have your entire business model segmented towards
Lizzo,
huh?
I said, and pre Lizzo,
and pre Lizzo too, yeah. So
I need tempo.
You're a dick. You're a dick for that. You're such a dick for that.
Yeah. So I think it's important that people look outside of just the weight loss. Like, oh, Weight Watchers is like the thing that boomers use, because a lot of people use it. I don't know, they have a lot of members already. So
let's go to the bear argument then. Mr. Gary Black, pretty much all in on Tesla, says Weight Watchers is up 58% today on a premise by Goldman Sachs that Weight Watchers users who now pay $23 a month for membership will fork over $90 a month to be advised by a third-party clinician. This is the telehealth stuff, who can prescribe Wegovy or Monaro at $840 to $1,200 a month if not covered by insurance. 80% of obese. Really? He says Weight Watchers 59% on Goldman Sachs upgrade to buy and increase to 13. Weight Watchers started 79% on March 7th and gave it all back after buying Sequence, a telehealth provider. Average weight membership is 23, not 90. He's saying we should short Weight Watchers. The thesis from Goldman Sachs, Weight Watchers members will pay Sequence $90 a month to get access to these drugs, two powerful drugs. And he says the flaw with the thesis is that most insurance plans won't cover the cost of these drugs. Goldman Sachs estimates 20% will do it, which run $840 to $1,200 a month. Basically saying not everyone is Kim Kardashian.
Is there a
now, Chris, real quick, before you respond, this guy gets paid by very rich people to find the best opportunities in the market.
And he's been wrong how many times? And he's been wrong how many times?
That's my point. Is there something about hedge fund managers where if they miss out on a 50% runner, they honestly feel like idiots because they're not you, Chris? Like, you got a job. You know, they're supposed to be doing the full-time research, but you're the one up 50% on a day. Like, is that also part of why he's upset here?
I honestly, I don't know what his logic is, but there was a lot of good replies that were basically tearing him a new one, because he clearly doesn't understand the actual product itself, how it's actually going to impact impact them and all the other things that happen to it. There's even legislation that's coming out that's actually supportive of this, because Congress even realizes that, hey, it's not going to be like that forever. Insurance companies, they're in the business of making money. And if you think about how the insurance works, the $1,000 price that he's showing is the cash price if you don't have insurance, right? Insurance, if your insurance doesn't cover it, you're going to have to pay $1,000. But guess what? The pharmaceutical companies understand that, and they still want to sell their product. They have coupon programs out there. They have things that they can fee scale the users. Also, they actually privately negotiate with the insurance companies to get the price down, so that this way it gives access to more people. Because at the end of the day,
how much do you think people are willing to pay from down to 1,000 a month? They would pay 500 a month.
Well, it depends on the person.
Card payment.
Right?
Think about that. That's like the average car payment.
Now here's the thing. What if it was $500, Carlos?
But the average person doesn't have 500 a month to, right?
You have 500 for food, right? So if you think about it, it replaces a lot of meals that could cut down. I'm not trying to justify the cost by any means, but the way that this works, especially in pharmaceuticals, is when competition comes, naturally the price of things come down, right? When the price of things come down and the insurance comes and insurance starts to support it, it means that there's more access to the product itself. One of the things is, if you think about all the secondary shit that happens to a person, if they're obese for a long period of time, their predisposition for what is that thing called? For stroke is much higher. For what is that thing called? For all sorts of other bodily issues, it's much higher. So the cost of insurance, if you think about it in the long run, would be much higher than just getting something like this at a fair price for the member, right?
But does he have a point that if most insurance people, like, you're totally right on that, but if most people still can't pay that 500 a month, does he have a point that there's no way people are going to pay for this?
Dude, see, here's the thing. If you have never been obese, you will never understand that. Like, you have to ask people that are actually obese, that have been trying to lose weight, that have failed on so many new things. Like, if you tell an obese person that, hey,
you can just get the stomach stapling surgery, and that's
how much does that cost?
That would be, but the thing is, if you're medically obese, that will be covered. I know somebody that did this, right? And like did it 15 years ago, and then you don't have this ongoing. You're not medicating yourself,
right? But there's a lot of side effects that come with that too, and there's some complications during surgery that can happen as well. So
that's what I was going to ask you. Two questions. Yeah. Does this drug have a generic version of it, and are there long-term studies on the effects of this?
The long-term studies are there, but there's no generic for it right now. So there are a lot of long-term studies for this specifically.
Any side effects?
There are a few side effects, but they're mild in nature. So they're not like super bad. You'd have to look them up. This is something that you have to really talk to a clinician about. But I saw in the comment section, a few people were actually talking about it. One person specifically was actually a physician on here, and he was talking about how he prescribes a lot of it, you know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just,
I love those drug commercials. It's always like, use this medicine to lose weight. Side effects include weight gain. You're like, what?
But these new class of drugs, GLP-1s, the total amount of sales per year is supposed to grow by 2030 to 50 billion a year. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is like on the cutting. This is literally one of those things that's going to be revolutionary to the general population. And everyone thinks like, oh, Americans are getting fat. If you look around the world, the entire world is getting fat. Like it's, I shouldn't say fat.
But Americans specifically, I think it's something like,
it
also depends on the communities. Like,
if you go to like, let's say some of the Pacific Islander countries, they're on another level. They're like 80% obese. If you go to the Middle East, they have a ton of obesity there too. So,
you know what's obesity? Not? There's some areas in Europe. Like I went to after 9/11 when the airplanes were like were super cheap. Me and my buddy went to Amsterdam that year for New Year's Eve and like Christmas. Like not one fat person, not one. We went to go like buy clothes. The extra large in the store jeans was like a 34. Like there's just no heavy people there. It's also culturally, you know, if you think about it too, like what's the cheapest thing? Like if you go to the supermarket, like the sodas and all that stuff is just loaded with sugar is super cheap. And so it disproportionately affects poor people who need to get more bang for their buck, and they end up buying things that are unhealthy.
Yeah. Kris, did you feel like a badass telling a hedge fund manager, short it if you want, but I do more research?
Yeah. I don't give a shit about Gary Black. Gary Black is an idiot.
Wait, what? Gary Black is an idiot?
I mean, I wouldn't say he's an idiot, but
Why is he an idiot?
Because he literally didn't do any research. There's no way that he did research in like literally an hour to 2 hours and says, oh yeah, I'm just going to write this product off. Otherwise he would have been commenting on this company for a while, right? This is literally him seeing a 50% rise up and saying, I need to comment to stay relevant. Do the research. Because if you do the research, this was actually a very, very simple value proposition. But like I said, do the research. Has he spoke to any physicians? No. Has he spoken to anyone obese? No. Has he sent out any sort of, because that's what real hedge funds, especially real hedge fund managers, what they do is they send out the research everywhere. His logic is, well, it went down last time, so it'll go down again. And I'm sure it might go down again. But I can tell you over the long term, this company has the potential to make some excellent returns. And
did you cash out today or no?
I did not cash out today, but I might cash out a little bit tomorrow, just so that I get my initial principal back and let the rest ride, baby. You know.
So wow, you really believe in the company.
Oh, and I bought a ton of options. I didn't even buy stock. I bought options because I knew
the picture you showed me, that's only the one picture. There's more pictures.
Yeah, I have 250 call contracts on it.
Oh shit,
that's a lot of calls, dude.
So bro, when you see you're up them, what was your first reaction when you were like? Can you describe to me when you saw it spike and then what you thought? Like, what were you going through when that happened?
Nothing. It was expected.
What do you mean nothing? Like, everyone's excited when they're.
He's like, it's kind of like after you finished for the 7th time when you were 18 years old.
If you know what you're
like, I felt spent. How much?
If you know, but the thing is, like, if you know that something like this is going to happen, the news is right there. It wasn't that hard of a pick, you know. But like I bought some that are $7 expiration, some are 10, right? And I actually even sold 12.5 against those, so that this way I'm covered on the downside because I have a call strategy, and I did nothing but leaps, by the way, so I didn't buy any short-term contracts.
But Kris, when in this morning, right, I was doing the live stream, when you see it just spike up, like, and you see those thousands of dollars, just you're up on it, paper money. Are you not like, oh shit, that's cool, or are you not like, hey wife, come look how much money I'm, how smart of a husband I am?
Gains.
No. I mean, bro,
I feel like you don't enjoy life enough. That's crazy. I'd be ecstatic, bro. I'd be like, holy fuck, I'm rich. Like,
I'll be ecstatic when I'm retired and sitting on an island somewhere. But no, I get
that. But like in the moment, you don't enjoy being up.
No, I'll tell you. You know what I enjoy? I enjoy my dividend payments that I'm about to get this week from my SLG position. That's a big one for me.
Okay, so I want to move to this. Okay, so
yeah,
you got Weight Watchers, right? So far, you got SLG, right? You got the bottom on Meta completely, right? I think what differentiates you as someone in my morning chat today, they were saying, oh, we thought Kris was like a growth stock hype investor. And like, that's the furthest thing from the truth. And over the past almost year that I've known you now, which makes sense why you went out of Palantir as well, is you really research a company deeply. You look at the opportunity, you look deep into the 10K. Obviously Palantir's balance sheet is good, but their 10K is not the best. Some of the ownership they have in SPAC, so that makes sense a lot more why you got out of it now. And you jump in when you think the ice is hot. Can you describe a little bit how you've been able to be right so many times in the past couple months? Like how do you think it pans out? And we're not saying you're a guru or anything, but you've been right on a bunch of these.
I mean, I have an investing philosophy. I use it whenever I see valuations that are extremely stupid. I get in, and at any time I see things that are extremely dumb, I get out. Right? That's just, I know that sounds really like simple, but that's just how it is. There's some companies that are focused on growth, some that are focused on value. You know, like when you had look, Meta was the easiest call I could make. Like you remember this, I was screaming at the top of my lungs to everyone who would listen to me about Meta. All right. I was on so many
literally
calls.
Called me. I remember you called my phone and you were talking to me about it.
I was like, this is no way in hell Meta is worth this much, because you can see the pivot coming by Zuckerberg. Everything on that conference call, if you listen to it, he was literally projecting out. Brad Gertzner was already writing the letter. And so if you saw it, it was just like, hey, get in. This will be a really smart move. And yeah, I ended up getting in and I did well on it. And it was the same thing with a lot of these companies. SLG, it was a very similar thing. I wasn't originally looking at commercial real estate. Believe it or not, I was looking to short commercial real estate. I was like, okay, let me, I keep hearing on CNBC and everyone saying, oh, what do you call commercial real estate is dead. So I was like, oh, let me look at some of these companies. Let me look at the balance sheet. Let me look at the valuation. So when I looked at the valuation, I was like, wait a second, this makes no goddamn sense why it would be this much. And so that's when I dug deeper into the 10K. I started looking for the quality of the buildings that were under the company that I was looking at, which was SL Green. I looked at the general market, what the market value was. Then I did research on some of the comp sales that were happening in the region, right? Also around legislation, because I think that's the one key piece that a lot of people tend to miss, and which is keep an eye on the legislation, because a lot of those legislative changes.
You're talking about the TikTok ban as well.
Yeah, I brought that up and everyone laughed at me on our Discord on the freelancer finance one, where I was like, look, guys, the TikTok ban is either coming or it's being projected out. It's going to take some time, but it'll happen. So
how do you keep Weight Watchers is weight watching, then your commercial real estate, then you got social media. How do you keep track of so many industries and you have a full-time job? How do you do that? How many hours a day do you
work at night? A lot.
Like what, 2 to 3 hours a day you research?
Maybe more.
And when you're researching, are you just surfing the web, just like consuming shit? Like are you listening to a podcast? Like what are you doing?
So usually it's like a thread that I start to pull, right? It's like a sweater. Like when you have a thread, you just get on it and you pull it. So as an example is I was doing research into GLP-1 medication. So that's why I was looking at Novo Nordisk. And then because of Novo Nordisk, I ended up finding out this whole thing with Weight Watchers. And so once I looked at that, I was like, hey, wait a second, this actually makes a lot of sense from a business perspective. And that's when I researched that. So it's all about just finding the one thing. Like SLG came to me because I was trying to short the commercial real estate market. And I realized that, wait a second, this is not something you want to short. This is actually
but also we got a text message from a friend who introduced us to SLG, right?
That's right.
And originally you saw the text and you were like, man, fuck this company. And then literally an hour later, you're like, holy shit, I'm buying $500,000 of this company. Like,
yeah.
All right. So final question for you, and then we'll move on. When's your Substack starting, bro? When are we getting the research? Like,
you know what? I was thinking about it, and
you invested in Substack. You might as well use them, right?
I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned about Substack, like how I would present things, because I don't want to be too bullish on things and lead people the wrong. Because my research, I try to keep it to myself. I don't want people following me into my trade, because I will move out of a position just as quick as I move into it if I see something wrong. And I don't want to have like, oh, I missed the Substack where I forgot to, like, let's say, make a new article about why this company pivoted, right? And it's not a good investment. So those are the kinds of things that I'm a little bit cautious of, but eventually I'll get started with it. So,
but as a side note, I don't think you owe people that. It's not
definitely not.
You're not trading for them. You're just giving.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you get on the phone and you just talk to your buddy. Like you're not obligated to that. You're just putting the research out there. You know?
Yeah, look, I mean, you get if you have a fucking good,
not financial advice.
It's not. If you have a good Substack and you're right,
it's
people
not
will pay $20 a month to make money. You know,
it's not. You know what it is? It's not necessarily just about making money. It's also I don't want people losing money and that being on my conscience.
True. Yeah,
that's like one of those things that's really hard for me. And by the way, Kelly asked,
it's not on your conscience though. It's like
Kelly, I also do have OCSL. OCSL is another great company, Howard Marks, but I would advise with OCSL, keep it in your tax deferred account. Like don't put that in your like regular account, because what's going to happen is any of the income that comes in from that is going to go straight into your taxes, and you're going to raise your tax bracket. So if you have like a tax deferred account, you get a nice little 11-12% dividend on that.
Look at this. You're getting Kelly following you into trades. Look at this. This is great.
I told Kelly about Meta too. I was like,
Kelly hates Meta because Meta is, Meta.
I told her, I was like, get Meta. I don't DM a lot of people with ideas, but she was the one I did. I was like, make sure you get Meta. You understand social media. Get Meta.
No, it's interesting, bro, because like there are people who have Substacks that I've seen. I have a Daily Palantir Substack, and I've loved publishing on it. I'm 2 days in, and I love it. That platform's fucking amazing. It feels so much better than the old newsletter I used to use. And I see people publish deep dives, And they say some ridiculous shit like Spotify is the next Amazon. And I'm reading this shit and I'm like, this is interesting, right? And it's like, it's like, all right, well, it's like credibility sometimes. It's like, that's a hard thing to think about. Then I see you finding SLG commercial real estate, just giving like the bare bone numbers, and it's more reasoned, right? So I think people would be willing to consume that content, and also be willing to pay for it, But then again, you are right that if you think too many people are going to follow you, you don't want that on your mind at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you can't. The thing is, you cannot think that way because you just cannot think that way. You just put the information out there because you're not responsible for what people do with their money.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I don't want to end up in a position where I lead someone into the wrong direction. That's all. It's just a personal thing for me. It's eventually I'll get over it, and eventually I'll just I still put on Twitter.
Like people don't need people. The people that lose money, they're gonna lose money without you anyway.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You know what I mean? They don't need you to lose their money.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's consuming content and they have to make their own investment decision. Like if you're not old enough to invest and make your own decisions.
You want to know which one you completely missed out on that I was talking. Remember Duolingo?
Duolingo, where are they? Yeah, I missed out on
Look at Duolingo.
Are you in there? You're in Duo?
Yeah, I was talking to you about it in the morning stream. I was like, yo, look at
you're
Duolingo.
Right. You told me them at 75. This is another one you got right, bro. This is another one. You said it at 75-ish, I think you said Duolingo. Yep. It's at 135 right now.
Yep, that one. Sam Mercier spoke to me about it. Like it's because I started using Duolingo to learn German. So me and my wife are learning German off of it, and it was like, wow, this can actually be utilized for like other things. The CEO was great. CEO has run multiple companies successfully. Sold his last 2 startups to Google. So it's just
the reason I didn't take it seriously is, and this is me being young and ideological. I'm like, I don't care about language sharing. And that's where I think people who have age have a benefit over me, because yes, you shouldn't invest in things you don't care about, but if it's a good deal, it's a good deal, right? Like at the end. So I didn't take it seriously at all because I was like, I don't give a shit about language, but like a lot of people give a shit about, learning German and stuff. So that's where I have to check my bias as well and be like, well, let me take a look at it, see what it's like.
Yep.
I mean, just being bilingual opens up so many opportunities to you. And eventually AI, I mean, it's getting so good with that. I'm sure you saw even some of the demos that they're working on. You'll have your headphones on, you'll hear somebody talk, it'll translate.
And their user retention is phenomenal. Like, it's just absolutely amazing.
I went to Japan in 2013 with my brother and like our oldest friend, and we just did Rosetta Stone for 3 weeks. And I gotta say, man, I picked up a good amount of Japanese. Like,
really? Can you say something? Say something in Japanese.
Like, Anamaguchi was like Apple. I just remember, like, there was just, I don't remember. It's gone now. 2013. It's 10 years ago. But we just did it for 3 weeks. 2 hours or whatever it was a day. Just throw it on in the background, and it really works. You can get to the point where you can have conversations. I'm gonna tell my wife.
It
is addicting because they gamify the shit.
Yeah, honey, my wife's probably watching. Honey, Kaffee und Milch bitte.
What'd you say?
I said coffee and milk, please. That's what I said in German. Kaffee und Milch bitte.
I went to
thought that was like some weird sexual.
Yeah, I thought you said like some sexual shit or something. But.
No.
German I saw a TikTok the other day of a German girl talking, and it was an interesting accent. It was cute, low key.
OnlyFans?
No, it wasn't OnlyFans. I've been to Germany once. I went to Stuttgart in 2016 because I was on the national USA debate team and we were competing internationally, and Germany was interesting.
Heidelberg. I was in Heidelberg. Loved it.
Kris reminds me of there's a buddy of mine. We actually should invite him on the podcast. He's one of the guys that originally got me into investing. The guy has been incredibly successful for over 20 years and doesn't look at charts, doesn't look at anything. He just has this like weird like he'll text me one day. He'll just text me one day and be like, yo, short smile direct. And I'm like, why? He's like, they're gonna pop. And like literally the next day, like it's like Friday at 3 p.m. like a clockwork, thing shoots up. He does a lot of and I don't know if you do this, Kris. It's like he looks a lot at the options market and we'll look at like the open interest for like later on and just kind of see what people are betting on, right? Because it gives you a good sense of investor sentiment on a company for the next couple of months. And then he uses that information with current news.
Let me share something with you guys real quick. And since everyone is on here, let me just
But while you're doing that, this is real stuff, bro. Because like if you know how to do that, look at the fucking short interest, options interest, and make a hypothetical guess and be right and make $500 in a week, like that's stuff like that's like 40 hours of work done in a couple of minutes just because of research skills. So it's
well, that particular strategy is not. I mean, the fear.
Yeah, you can't replicate it as much.
Yeah, I never try, but it does give you information because it tells you how many contracts have been bought, right? So if you see a bunch of, say, stock is heavily shorted, you can see how far out people are buying these put options for and how much they're betting on it, right? And you can also see the float. You have an idea of what people are thinking about this company, and unless like news reverses trends or what you call it or justifies it, you can have a pretty good idea of like what the stocks are, because the stock market is really is emotional. It's more psychological, or it's a good percentage psychological as much as it is like financial and technical, right?
Yeah.
So let me show you guys something real quick that this has actually been, believe it or not, fairly accurate. If you guys have you guys ever seen this before, the CNN Fear and Greed Index?
No, isn't CNN fake news?
Yeah,
it is fake news. It is fake news. But
ask,
in this
Trump.
One case, it's
Trump
not.
a minute.
In this case, it's not. So if you look at the Fear and Greed Index, one of the things that they do is they use multiple measures in order to get an idea of where we are in the market cycle in the short term, up and down, left and right, and it gives you like the most what is that thing called? Some really good basic metrics on why things are the way they are, right? So like this one is the put and call options. So that you do an average to see how many more call options are being bought versus the put options.
Mm-hmm.
Volatility. You also have things around bond interest, also junk bond yields. And one of the really cool things, Amit, do you have the S&P 500 chart on your computer?
Yeah.
All right, load it up on just yours. I'm going to show everyone this real quick. So if you look right here, this is the actual up and downs of like the Fear and Greed Index. Okay, when the amplitude is high, that means that the market is actually projecting a lot of greed. And believe it or not, that's when you should be extra cautious. So here's an example. February 2nd, it hit greed territory, extreme greed territory, right? What was the top in February? What was the top the last few months, Amit? On the S&P, look at that.
Last few months, let's go. Let me see it for the S&P.
Mm-hmm.
For the S&P,
I'm guessing February, right?
February 2nd.
Yeah.
Yes, it was 418 on the S&P, February 2nd.
Right, and then it crashed down, right, all the way down to March 15th, around there, right? So there was extreme fear.
385-ish.
Right? And then look what happened. Then 385, now we're back up to here again, right? So 4,000 something, right? That we're back on the S&P, right?
Yeah.
Do you see that? Even if you go back here, look at November 30th, where the S&P was, and then where it ended up in December, at the end of December. Do you see the correlation?
Yes.
Look at
November 13th.
Yep.
It was 400. And then by December, end of December, is 378.
Right? So you can see how it collapsed down. If you look at August, the top in August, which date was the top in August?
August 16th.
Look at that.
431.
And what was the bottom in September?
In October, it was 348.
Which October? What was the
October
date?
13th. September was 358. October was 348. Bottom.
Look at that. Look at this. Does that not shock you?
So the fear. So wait. When there's more fear, it goes up.
So when there's extreme levels of greed, that means the valuations have started to get a little frothy. So right here is when you have a technical top start forming, right? So you should, anytime it goes beyond the 65, like around 70, that's when you should know that, hey, maybe it's time to be a little bit more cautious. Whenever you see that the market is extremely scared, that's when it's a good time to possibly enter the market a little bit and ride it up.
So right now, where are we at right now? Are we fear or?
We're actually in a little bit of a greed territory, but not nearly enough to justify a downward move. If it goes a little bit higher, then yeah, I'd start to buy some puts and maybe even sell some things off just to be on the safe side, because that means that a lot of people are starting to get greedy in the market. So and that'll probably means that the market would be ready for a nice little technical short-term crash. Because right now we're not, we're in something called a kangaroo market. Okay, so you guys have heard the bull market, you guys heard the bear market, right? But this is actually the kangaroo market. So basically, there's a lot of volatility, a lot of news that's out there. Anytime the news is pessimistic, everyone just dumps their shit. Anytime the news is too good, everyone just buys into it like there's no crazy time to buy, and they just keep raising things up. But it's been a fairly accurate predictor of when the technical tops are, for me at least, and that's why I've been able to actually benefit significantly this year. So just a thought.
Okay. I want to ask one question. You guys can start leaving questions in the chat. We'll do questions in like 5-6 minutes. Here's my question for the night.
Did you change your shirt just now?
No, I just changed the camera because the camera died. Should Elizabeth Holmes be in jail for the next decade? She's
how much money did she end up?
She lost investors like about $6 billion, something like that. Some crazy number like that.
$6 billion?
Does she deserve to go to jail for 10? She's about to get on trial. She already had her trial. She's about to literally be taken to prison. She's trying to not get jail.
So she shouldn't be in prison for losing investors' money, but she definitely should be for faking test results and possibly causing health-related fraudulent things. Like, people were actually relying on her products to make clinical decisions. So that's really on another level of
what year,
negligence.
Chris? How many years do you think she deserves?
I'd say 100. 100 is good. Makes sense.
You say she should be in jail for 100 years for losing? $6 billion?
Not for the investor money, for the faking of clinical results. That's crazy.
Well, then by comparison, how many years should Trevor Milton get?
Well, Trevor Milton is a whole different situation, right?
But it's the same thing. I mean, they were pitching renderings of that, whatever that vehicle, their pickup truck, as it being real. They pushed the truck down the hill, and so driving its own power.
Losing, fraudulently claiming something that loses investors' money, I think, is a whole different level than causing people physical bodily harm via negligent testing, right?
Yeah,
so that's a whole thing. Like, if you're maliciously, not maliciously, but if you're willing to literally put people's health at risk, that's a big difference between people just putting people's money at risk. You know what I mean? So it seems like attempted murder, to be honest with you. But that's because that's how I feel about the healthcare system, where people should be extra cautious about that. And definitely, you can defraud investors all you want. I care, but I don't care that much. But when you're defrauding patients, I'll take that shit to another level. So no.
What do you think about the argument that innovation requires some breaking of rules? And
no, you don't break rules like that. No, not in this case, especially with people's health.
Like, because that's what China uses, right? That's what China says in order to justify some pretty horrific experiments.
Yeah. So someone said, what if Weight Watchers drugs have side effects? Okay, number one, they're clinically proven on by the FDA. So there's actually been a lot of testing. There's been efficacy behind it. And it's not malicious if there's something that would be wrong with it. On the other hand, it'd be a different story if they actually knew that this product didn't work and it was actually, negatively impacting.
Which is basically what Elizabeth Holmes did. She knew that shit didn't work, but
exactly.
Well, okay. So before I make a comment, I want to ask a question about this drug. This drug apparently tricks your body into thinking you're full. So you don't release the hormones that tell you that you're it's not being a fat fuck. So it's a drug that tricks your body's systems into thinking that you're full, right? Is it anything more than that? Anything to do with your actual metabolism, how you metabolize calories, or anything to do with your gut?
No, it just literally gives you the sensation of that you're feeling full, with very little bit of food. The other one of the side effects is that, like, it makes food less appetizing. Like, sometimes people will just indulge or overindulge in food. Like, the chances of you overindulging would be dramatically decreased, actually. So
it's like the medicines that they use to get people to quit smoking.
Similar,
it makes it undesirable to you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, like on a philosophical level, is like, I wonder what the long-term effects are by offsetting a human biological system, right, with something artificial. That is, in other words, you're meant to be hungry.
But I think for like really obese.
No, you can still eat. Like, you'll still feel hungry. It's just that you won't feel hungry to the point where you'll feel that feeling of fullness quicker. And it's something that I'd say you probably should talk to a doctor about, not me.
I just go, I don't know what it is about our society that
my wife, who's a clinical pharmacist, she just came in and said I'm wrong. Why am I wrong?
Can she get on the pod, bro? We want to.
No, she's naked. No.
Tell her to say why you're wrong in
We
German.
want to see you.
Why am I wrong? Why am I wrong? Tell me, please.
Tell her to come on the pod, bro. The audience would love to hear her on the pod.
There's lots.
Okay, hold on. So she says it what?
There's different.
Give her the mic.
No, bro, she's literally like standing there in her bra right now. You know, she's just chilling.
No.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? Do your own research on it. To me, I thought it was just.
Wait, why did she say you're wrong though? Can we hear why she thinks you're wrong?
Here, tell them, but don't get on the camera. Here, quickly.
It's not just one mechanism. There's multiple mechanisms.
Speak up, woman.
No, we can hear it. We can hear it. Hey,
Don't worry about it. Just do your research. Go to Google.
Go to Google. Do your research. Okay.
But basically, she said you're wrong. That's what we got out of it.
She didn't say I was wrong. She just said you're missing on things.
AKA you're wrong. So
okay, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I see your point, Carlos. I think though, if you're really obese, bro, you're willing to do anything. And if you could fucking trick your brain, you know. Then...
I think that's another conversation. I'm actually gonna jump for a minute or two, but my overall point is, I think. Why are we looking for the easy way out? Like nobody wakes up in the morning and one day you're just obese. That's a long series of either bad decisions or poor health management. Nothing like I don't know. Just go to the gym, eat healthy, drink a lot of water, stay off of sugar.
Yeah, but Carlos, it's not that easy, especially once you're in a bad position, especially like you've gained a lot of the weight. You know, there are other factors that prevent you from actually losing the weight. Like number one.
All right, but if you go to the gym, but if that person, right, with all those bad habits, just eats clean, right? Eats clean.
It's not as that simple. It's not that simple.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of emotional shit people have to deal with. They've been depressed for years. Like it's hard to just.
And even metabolism, like women, right? Women's metabolism is on another level when it comes to getting older. Like it slows down dramatically.
Yeah, if women had kids,
everybody's metabolism slows down.
No, that's true, but it's really hard to lose the weight, and sometimes I think it's also the work-life balance as well. Like some people have a job where they're.
I just think overall as a culture, it's a blanket statement that people are trying to look for the shortcut. They're trying to skip the part where you got to do hard work. It's the same thing with investing. I see it everywhere. We're just skipping the part where it's hard work. It's not meant to be glamorous or fun, but it's rewarding in its own way. That work is rewarding in its own way, right? That's just. I agree. I think people should definitely do it the natural way. And even Weight Watchers encourages you to do the natural way. This is not something that's there for like everyone looking to lose 5 to 10 pounds. I'm talking about people that are trying to lose like 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds. Like these are numbers that dramatically change the quality of life of people, you know? So it's not these medications are not for just like, oh yeah, I just want to look good in a suit or a dress. This is like literally you have been put in a place,
like life or death type shit when it comes to weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Carl, you have to dip, or you can say.
Do you not think that people should take personal responsibility? Your body is like the most important thing to you, and it should be.
Okay, so let me give you an example. You're correct, but let's say you're a woman. You've had 2 kids. Okay, you've been emotionally abused by your husband and his mother for 15 years, and you're working a job trying to maintain 2 kids in America. You're an immigrant. And yes, you could make some better, healthier decisions, but the emotional abuse.
I mean, but why don't you just? I mean, how much more do you need to tack on?
You know what I'm actually describing my mom, bro. She had 2 kids, came from India to America, became a teacher, making $45,000 a year, living in an apartment. A lot of emotional abuse she had to deal with, and you know she's been overweight for a while, and it's negatively affected her. And like she's tried a lot of shit, bro, but it's just not that easy, especially, and then your legs don't work as well. So you can't just go run and burn 500 calories. Like I just burned 850 calories before I got here because I ran 7 miles. Yeah. Like it's like when I mean emotional abuse, I don't want to get too much into it, but bro, she went through a lot of shit. And it's like, there's some days where you don't feel like fucking eating healthy.
Well, that's a huge contributor of it. I mean,
but that's my point. And I agree with you on the macro personal responsibility. I just think Chris's point about there's some situations where that shit is hard. Personal responsibility.
Yeah. But this is not being marketed as the edge cases. It's kind of like this is now just the way to lose weight, right? It's like
no.
I don't know if you guys remember when liposuction first became a thing. That was like, oh, I could eat whatever I want. I'm just going to go get lipo, and it just became
Yeah, that shouldn't be
The
normalized.
solution.
No, that in itself was a lot more to deal with cosmetics, right? Where cosmetic changes, people want it to look good in a dress or whatever. That's what liposuction honestly did. This is a whole different thing where it's going to help you lose the weight so that this way you could do. And this is where Weight Watchers comes in. This is the benefit of Weight Watchers, where Weight Watchers actually teaches you how to eat clean and how to actually exercise, and then keep following up with people so that, and they also provide like a support system and a support group. So basically you're not doing this alone. Like, that's one of the things about Weight Watchers that I think a lot of people like, that they do things in a group setting where they actually go to Weight Watchers, they have meetings, they talk about all the stuff that they've done. Yeah, and they put them accountability. And a lot of people have found a lot of success to it. This just pretty much adds to that, where it's almost like, okay, look, you can take this medication that will help jumpstart the weight loss regime that'll get you to a point where you can actually start applying better eating habits and better workout habits.
Yeah, and let me be clear. I agree with Carlos. I'm not trying to use a personal exception to make a point. I'm just trying to say there's a lot of fucking people that have gone through some shit where it's just a lot harder, and that traditional shit. But obviously, Carlos is right in general. You have to take risks. You can't just let yourself get fat. Like, that's not how it works.
I just think I think that, and again, this is separate from like what the stock is. Like, sure, if the stock's going to do well, invest in the company, make the money. But I just think on a philosophical level, I just think that let's not skip that part. Right, like I hear what you're saying, right? That there are external factors that contribute.
It's I would say it's a combination, Carlos. Like, here's an example: if you're like, let's say 300 pounds and you try to go for a run, your knees will go bad before you end up losing half the weight that you need to, because literally you'll be putting so much pressure on your joints the entire time, and you'll end up getting
literally just box. There's a guy on YouTube. I follow. He was like 400 pounds and he just got fed up, and he did this whole thing. He showed his journey, and all he did was box. He bought a heavy bag, put it in his house, and just videotaped himself for like a year boxing. Then he ended up putting all the weight back on and did it again. So he did it twice. He lost like 200 pounds twice, and he was like, mid 30s. The point is like anyone, whether you were poor or rich, that bought Bitcoin in 2012 is a multimillionaire today, right? And so it doesn't care. Like, the gains don't care who buys it. It's the same sort of thing. Like, and exercise, your body will respond to exercise. I understand that there are other factors, but that's the concern that I have, is that this becomes sort of like a de facto way where I can do whatever I want. I'm just going to inject myself, because I see the commercials for it. What's funny is ever since you started talking about Weight Watchers, my feed gets hit with this stuff. A lot of what we we talk about gets hit.
That Hims shit, bro.
I think I saw one of those
losing erectile
ED medications. I'm like, damn, this algorithm's fucking me up.
We're fucking up our subscribers' heels, bro. Yeah. We're messing it up.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Jackalope. I'm gonna get like 15,000 in RVs.
What are you eating for dinner tonight, Carlos?
Tonight, what am I eating for dinner tonight? I'm probably gonna eat. My wife's cooking. She's gonna make some pasta.
Okay, Chris, what are you eating?
I already had dinner with the wife. Me and her went to this place called La Botana.
He's like, that's why she was in her bra.
That's hilarious. But your wife is a pharmacist, right? So she knows about this shit too, right?
Yeah. And my sister-in-law is an endocrinologist. So I mean, like I said, she's been getting hit with Ozempic all the time, like just people coming and saying, hey, I really need this medication, I really want it. And that's where I agree with you, Carlos. Like, everyone shouldn't get it, but at the same time, if it's something that's effective,
Look, on to Carlos's point, I'm getting a root canal tomorrow, and that's all personal responsibility. Like, I just didn't give a fuck about my teeth for the past 5 years, and now I got to get a root canal. That shit costs money. Like, and so what is that going to make me do? Take care of my fucking teeth.
Well, I think the lesson there is preventive care and maintenance is better than trying to fix a problem.
Yes,
right? It's kind of like with your car, right? If you I remember I learned this lesson. I was young. I had a Camaro, like my 86 Camaro, my Z28, driving along, and I had to go get my oil changed, right? I was kind of late on it. I wasn't getting my oil changed. And at the time I was working for a company, they were like, hey, would you go to this customer's house and just do a bid or an estimate? I was like, you know what? I'll go to this customer first and then I'll go get my oil changed. So of course, what happens? My engine seizes on the highway and I just fuse the whole engine together. And I basically, the car was a total loss. And that's what I learned. Like, yeah, sometimes you got to stop and do the preventive thing, because it caused being, my dad used to say to me, well, some of the very little that I learned from my dad was that lazy people work twice as hard. I never forgot that.
No, that's fair. I'm thinking of getting a tattoo called "Work Harder" on my arm, just like constantly remind me to just work harder. Like, Why is that a bad idea, Kris? Why are you shaking your head like a disappointed Indian father? Like, you're muted, by the way.
I don't know, man. It just I'm not big on tattoos. Like, unless
I'm not
I don't know.
either. It was gonna be a small one, just like
Your mom will fucking kill you, bro.
No,
Be
my
like,
mom-
I would tattoo my kid's name on me or something like that.
yeah.
I'm just
Do you
like,
have any tattoos, Carlos?
No. And
I
it's
don't
for,
have any
it's for
other.
that reason. It's for that reason. I'm just like, there's nothing really that I'd want to. Like, my ex-wife tattooed my name on her, like a nickname that I had.
Wait,
And I never forgot that. It was like our first wedding
Carlos,
anniversary.
you had an ex-wife? I didn't know. You
Yeah,
were
I got
divorced.
married when I was my first wife. I got married when I was 29, and that year, she for like Christmas, she got tattooed like right here, like on the side, and I was like really, I was really flattered by that. But like now this is like we've been divorced forever, and she still has that.
Wait, hold
And I'm
on.
thinking,
What did you didn't do that? You didn't get her name, so was there tension because of that?
No. We
There was
got a
no
bunch of
tension
piercings
that you didn't
together.
get her name.
No, she did it as a surprise to me. When we got married, we both got a set of piercings together, and it was like, oh, that's really cool. And because I used to have a lot of piercings, I used to have like my tongue, all the stuff, nipples, the whole thing. And so that's fine because you can take them out. You know what I mean? But she went that year for Christmas, and she like revealed it. She had my nickname at the time. I was in a band with the same guy that I'm saying is a great investor. My nickname in that band was Lava. And she got the name Lava, like really cool looking on her waist, like right below like the panning line.
The rib, yeah.
And I was like really flattered. But then when we got divorced, I'm just like, to be every guy after that. Oh man.
No, that girl was not watching her waist.
What is it?
Get it? Wait, watch it. Okay, that fell off.
Nah, you know what was the craziest tattoo
I got
I've ever seen?
There
was
Carlos, you need to see some of these pictures from when you're this young, bro. You see it. Go ahead, Chris.
There was this girl that I was
no.
There was this girl that I was seeing, and in her tramp stamp, she had like fucking pair of eyes, but she had those eyes that were the illusion that fucking like anywhere you look, it like followed you and shit. So like she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I think your fucking tramp stamp is like looking at me.
I think your back is looking at me.
And it's just so fucking freaky, dude. I was like, I don't even know how the tattoo artist made that shit happen, but you would look at it from the side. It's like, holy shit, it's still being looked at, dude. So I don't know if she had like some kind of run-in in the past. So she always wanted to have eyes behind her metaphorically, but it was weird, man.
That is weird.
Okay, so I was with a girl in college that actually had her nipples pierced, and it was really interesting because it looked like it hurt, but it actually was kind of hot. So Carlos, like, did it hurt when you had your nipples pierced, or did it look
that
cool?
was the piercing itself didn't actually hurt. That was the one that we got together. We both went and did that together. That didn't actually hurt. The maintenance of that, like the subsequent days of clean, that hurt because you have to spin the piercing inside to get like soap inside to clean the inside. And that part was like, I almost passed out.
And what was the point of it? Was just like the aesthetic that like,
yeah. I mean, look, I was in a band. I was in a heavy metal band. I was like a singer and a drummer in a metal band. Like it's kind of what you do. And I was very anti-tattoo. So I was like, well, I can just get a bunch of piercings. I had my eyebrow pierced up until maybe like just a couple of years ago. Had my tongue pierced for a long time. Had all my ears were all pierced up.
wow.
I liked it. And I fought it for a while. I was one of those like, people should accept me for who I am. But I did see the way that people treated me differently.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I told myself I would never take my eyebrow ring out. It was like, it was me. And then I was working on a project that I had some issues with. And it was a pretty high profile project for a pretty high profile director. And I got in touch with some people at Apple, and they actually set up a meeting with like the pro apps, the head of pro apps. They flew them down from whatever, Cupertino, to meet me. And as I was getting ready to leave for that meeting, I'm just like getting ready, and I'm with my wife, and I was like, you got to help me take this eyebrow piercing out. And she's like, why? And I'm sitting there, like, my wife is there with the pliers. And I don't know why. I just felt like I had to do it. But that's something that you can't do with a tattoo. So.
Okay. Last question of the night. We're going to end it off here. Thoughts on Shopify, because everyone wants to know about Shopify. Carlos, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, Chris. As a stock.
No. A Shopify, no. I haven't been following it.
Okay. Chris, any thoughts? You're muted.
I have to do more research on it. I know I keep like putting that one on the side because I always, anytime I look at it, I just look at the valuation. And I'm
Same.
like, yeah, I'm not touching it.
Same.
But the thing is, their growth prospects are there. The CEO is good. So maybe if the price gets a little bit better, I may more inclined to research it. I do, however, know that a lot of people that I've spoken to that use it love the product. So
yeah, the product's great. Product's
so if the product is good, typically that means that the business will take care of itself. It's just at what price do I get in at? That makes more sense. So
it's also a Kathy stock. So that's there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that.
Okay.
Huh.
All right. That's pretty
What
much
happened to Carlos tonight, man? Does he have any tattoos?
You mean Vitaly?
Oh, Vitaly, yeah.
Oh, Vitaly, no. Vitaly,
I think Vitaly is not the tattoo type of guy, right?
he's not the tattoo guy. He's not the piercing guy. He barely drinks. We've only we smoked weed like once. That was a funny story. But we
really together? You guys did it?
We should tell that story with him there.
Oh man, that's gonna be great.
All right, sounds good.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Appreciate 207 people joining their nights with us. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 p.m. and we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Send out the link earlier so we can post it everywhere. Dude.
Yeah. Let me send out the link earlier.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Later, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.